Hello, my friends. I am Kathy Weaver, and I don't know about you, but I love networking. Please don't automatically say, ew, but I really mean that with all my heart. And I wanted to share a little bit today about networking for introverts and extroverts. I've got both your bases covered, which means if you're an extrovert, let's go with networking on steroids. If you're an introvert, let's go with networking on steroids, PQ, which stands for post quarantine. What do you think? This is not a sales pitch because the books are free. They're on my YouTube channel, on a playlist all by themselves. And you can literally click on either of them and it goes through the whole book for you, usually in about 60 minutes. So I read it to you, and that's the deal. So I wanted you to know, and obviously I've got the books right here with me, but Networking on Steroids was born in 2012. And I love networking then. I have gotten to do lots of presentations now, certainly in person and virtual, as the world has changed. And when people read my book, literally read it in their hand or actually see it on the screen, that's one of the first things they say is, it sounds like you got to do a lot of handshaking and name badges and all that stuff. Well, that's why Networking on Steroids PQ was born in 2020. And so there is an opportunity seriously for networking for introverts, networking for extroverts, because the tips are not the same. And that's why I wanted to go over a few things now. When you're in person, one of my favorite things, of course, is chambers of commerce. The chambers of commerce here in my local area in Kansas City literally started my success journey, and I am forever grateful. I mean that with all my heart. I went to my first chamber meeting and I was like, what the heck is this? Talk about networking on steroids. There were 200 people at this event. So, of course, being me, I went back the next week to see if it's the same. Yeah, it's the same. There were 200 people all the time and different locations all around the city. And so I fell in love with chambers of commerce for that reason. And I promote them times a million because I love what they can actually do for the community. Now, that being said, I want to offer what I like to call a little, shall we say, master tip when you are thinking about joining a chamber of commerce. And for those of you who are chamber of commerce executives, this might be something to consider for your side of it as well. Any chamber would probably be very happy to take your money, which means, I want to join the chamber. Is that okay? Well, most of the time the answer is absolutely, we'd love to have you. If you are thinking about joining a chamber, of course, you want to support your local market, like your city, your actual location, because first of all, the events would be close to your home and office rather than across the city for you to travel to. But if you have the opportunity to join a 3-star, a 4-star, a 5-star chamber, what does the interview process look like for that chamber of commerce? Which means, and I have personally done this, what does your chamber have to offer me and my business that that one doesn't? I think that's a fair question. If there's lots and lots and lots of chambers in your location, I'm going to join that one. Oh, yikes, that was a mistake. Hang on a second, I'm going to join that one. Well, you can be cash poor pretty quickly if that's what you're thinking. But if you interview the chamber ahead of time, you're not going to be surprised, probably, because quite frankly, I feel all the time you only get out of something what you put into it. So again, Networking on Steroids was born in 2012, and chambers of commerce rock my world, and they certainly rock my company, and I support them to this day. So what does your chamber have to offer me and my business that that one does not? Fair question. See what they say. Say it to the next chamber membership director. Say it to the next chamber membership director. Compare the answers. You're not in a hurry to join. It's probably not going to change your business overnight. Now, if you're brick and mortar, same drill. You want to join the location where your actual address is. Absolutely support your local chamber. But, what would keep you or your team or your company or your employers from networking in other locations if your brick and mortar can service the entire community? Interview. It's not a bad word. Plus, kind of, it's cool. Get to meet lots of people. And of course, they're super, super excited that you want to even consider joining their chamber. So I don't think the questions are a bad thing. So please consider that. Fast forward to 2020 when Networking on Steroids PQ was born. I was, as all of us, we were broadsided from the standpoint, couldn't leave our house, couldn't leave the office, couldn't leave whatever we were doing. And 2020 changed our lives forever, and certainly in the networking world as well. So with my experience of networking full time by back then for 12 years, literally, I had to punt and pivot. And so Zoom became my very best friend. I turned out to be just dangerous enough to learn how to work StreamYard effectively, kind of. But I love being able to help people with the PQ part, which means networking on steroids together are great, but certainly the PQ part, how to navigate these Brady Bunch squares, as I call them, effectively. So when networking on steroids PQ came to be, I started thinking in terms of you need to be present on the call. And I'm actually going to do a Zoom etiquette video soon because that has come up lots of times recently. But you do need to be present on the Zoom. What would be happening if I'm just like, nah, I'm on my phone, I'm getting my nails done, whatever else is happening. I'm not paying attention to the networking that's going on in the meeting. I'm not watching the wheel get spun for seeing who the winner is. I'm not watching somebody's presentation because it's blah, 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 boring. People can feel that. The engagement piece is huge. And so think about the networking for introverts. Holy moly, no wonder it's networking on steroids PQ post-quarantine. Introverts are much more comfortable on a Zoom call, possibly, than being in a Chamber of Commerce meeting, shaking hands with all the execs that are in there. So think about that, okay? What does that look like to be an extrovert? What does that look like to be an introvert? And everything in between. And quite frankly, in each book, there might be something to glean for all of us. So honestly, when networking on steroids PQ came to be, what does it look like to be a swooper? Now, I coined the term swooper because I have experienced it personally. I have witnessed it. And that was also for in person. It was also for Zooming. And so I have definitely noticed the swooping, which means you swoop in. I call it barf your business, excuse me, but barf your business, hit the road, and we never see you again. What the heck is that? Does that look like relationship building? No. And so the rest of the story is swoopers beware. If you're a swooper and you're going to swoop in, want everybody to buy your widget and gidget, and then swoop out again, never to be seen, but you hope to leave a trail of sales behind you, it's probably not going to happen. So swoopers beware is one of the chapters in Networking on Steroids PQ. Again, these books are free. They're on my YouTube channel playlist, Kathy Weaver KC, Networking on Steroids PQ. The whole book is there. And I read it to you so you can take notes if you'd like, whatever you want. Because the cool thing is, as I said, when these books were born, I wanted to be able to help people. And now I'm seeing so many people say, I'm an introvert, I can't network. Well, I'm actually an introvert too. And according to this book, yes, you can. So please consider, if you haven't yet, there's all types of networking techniques. There's not one way to do anything. I'm not a K-room person, but there's probably not even one way to bake a cake. You might be able to bake a cake several different ways. Who knows? Not I, but there might be choices. Same thing with networking. You want to go to a Chamber of Commerce meeting, you want to go to a BNI group, you want to go to a ladies' luncheon or whatever you do. Bingo, here is your technique tips that you could use. You absolutely want to stay everything virtually. Google Meets, Microsoft Teams, StreamYard, certainly Zoom, then bingo, you can navigate the Brady Bunch squares right here. So please consider, and I mean this with all my heart, I love networking. 2020 changed our networking lives possibly forever. And now we've got tips, tricks, and techniques actually that you can use whether you're an introvert or an extrovert. You decide. I'm Kathy Weaver, and again, these books are free on my YouTube playlist, Kathy Weaver KC, which stands for Kansas City. I love helping people network more effectively because I personally love it. Thank you for joining me, my friends, and I'm super excited to see your thoughts and certainly your comments. And thank you in advance for subscribing to my YouTube channel. Whether you're an introvert or an extrovert. Bye for now.